Welcome back to the channel. In the middle of the hot afternoon, the foster brother came to visit his mother and was surprised to see her frantically running around the village looking for her sister, who had been missing since morning. Feeling something was wrong, he immediately started searching. But when following the trail, he discovered a chilling clue related to a recently missing police officer. Hang, what truth is waiting behind? One hot afternoon, the dry, golden sunlight spread across the cassava fields that had just begun to be harvested. The mother walked through each row of cassava, her eyes darting around, her heart burning with anxiety. As she walked, she hoarsely called Nat's name. She had just gone to get water a while ago, and when she returned, she couldn't find her daughter. Disappointed and tired, she returned home with a faint hope that maybe Nhat had returned. However, the door was still ajar. The house was eerily quiet. With no time to rest, she quickly put on her coat and rushed out of the house. Her heart was pounding. Each step seemed to carry a heavy burden of worry. As soon as she reached the end of the alley, she was startled to see a policeman approaching. He looked urgent. As soon as he saw her, he asked, "Have you seen Nhat? She left home this morning, and she had not been found yet, and now Nhat has come." He said he didn't see. Having said that, she immediately followed the policeman along the trail leading into the forest. The two of them walked while calling out Nat's name, hoping for a response. But all along the long road, there was only the sound of the wind whistling and the rustling of dry leaves. Not a trace, not a clue. As the sky gradually darkened, she began to worry extremely. Finally, she had to turn back in despair, a vague fear rising in her heart. Would something bad happen to her child? As soon as she got close to home, she saw the silhouette of a car approaching from afar. It was Nat's foster brother, coming to visit his mother. As soon as he saw her, Can quickly stopped. Before he could say anything, she rushed forward, her voice trembling as she recounted the whole story of Nat's disappearance since morning, how she had searched all over the fields, into the forest, but could not find him anywhere. Even more special, there was also Hang, who had also mysteriously disappeared since yesterday. Can was stunned, his eyes darkened, his hands clenched until his knuckles turned white. After a moment of silence, he said firmly, "Mom, don't worry too much. For now, you and I will search around here again. We have to carefully check every corner, every bush. Maybe the kids have encountered something on the road and haven't had time to call for help." After searching around the village again but not finding any trace of Nhat and Hang, the mother and daughter decided to go to Nat's house first. When they got there, they sat quietly on the porch. The afternoon wind blew, carrying an unusual coldness. Can sighed. "Did we miss out on something? Is there a place we could go that I haven't thought of yet?" She nodded slightly, her eyes confused. On the other side, in the middle of the dark forest, the stranger finally brought Nhat to an abandoned house deep in the forest. The house was dilapidated, the walls were cracked, the roof was covered with moss, the wooden door creaked every time it was opened. The light shining through the cracks made the space even more creepy. He glanced around and found a rope tied to a pole. Without hesitation, he tied Nat's hands and feet tightly with experienced movements, as if he had done this many times before. He tightened the rope around Nat's wrists, each knot tightening as if to vent all the anger in his heart. His mouth kept muttering, his voice becoming more and more venomous. "I hate your husband. I hate you too. You guys ruined everything. I've been preparing for so many years, and yet because of you two, everything collapsed." He gritted his teeth, his bloodshot eyes staring at Nat's unconscious face. His hands trembled. It was unclear whether it was because of anger or some crazy emotion that was surging. "If it weren't for you guys, I would have escaped. I would have had another life. But now I'll take it all back, starting with you." After tying it up, he stood up, his eyes still not leaving Nhat. He quickly walked to the corner of the house, scooped up water into a chipped ceramic cup, then turned back, roaring angrily, "Wake up now." With that, he threw the cold cup of water straight into Nat's face. The strong splash of water made her wake up, coughing and shivering from the cold. Nhat opened her eyes wide, looked around in panic, breathing heavily. The surrounding space was dark and strange. The brick walls were covered in moss, the ground was cold, and the strong, musty smell rushed straight into her nose, making her suffocate. Before she could react, he suddenly rushed forward, grabbed her chin, and squeezed it tightly. The rough and cold fingers made nhat ache, unable to turn away. His face was close. His eyes were red with anger. Every breath he exhaled reeked of cigarettes and hatred. Why? Why do you guys always have to interfere in my business? He gritted each word, his voice hissing like the sound of a knife grinding against steel. Sinnhat trembled. Her mouth moved, but she couldn't speak. She didn't know who he was, nor did she understand what she had done to make him hate her so much. But his eyes were full of madness, as if ready to strangle her at any moment. Then, he suddenly pulled out an old phone from his pocket and threw it in front of nhat, his voice cold but full of threats. Call your family. Tell them to bring money to ransom you. Hurry. With her hands still tied, nhat struggled to grab the phone, her mind spinning. In an instant, a name appeared clearly in her mind: Can, her adopted brother, the only person calm and strong enough to help her get out of this. She shakily dialed the number. The phone rang a few times before the other end of the line picked up. Hello? Is that nhat? Before she could say anything, the kidnapper's voice rang out full of hatred. It's me. Hang, your brother-in-law made me lose a lot of money in the last shipment. Now you have two choices. One is to take 100 million to ransom this girl. Two is to consider not having a sister anymore. It's up to you. The phone hung up immediately after that. The space became dense, as if the whole world was about to collapse under Khan's feet. Khan was stunned, his heart pounding. After a few seconds of regaining his composure, he immediately dialed the police. His voice was low and urgent, recounting the whole incident that had just happened. Without delay, they quickly came up with a plan to coordinate to rescue sinnhat safely. As for Hang, he still lives in a state of complete amnesia. He can't remember who he is, where he came from, or why he's here. He only knows one thing: the girl who saved him yesterday is his safest place to rely on right now. That girl was not only the one who saved Hang, but also a young doctor living in the peaceful mountains. She specialized in going into the forest to pick leaves, looking for traditional medicine to treat the people in the area. From early morning, when the sun had not yet risen above the mountaintop, she had put a basket on her back, holding a familiar small knife in her hand. Hang, although not knowing who she was still quietly followed, as if her instinct told her that he should be by her side. They carried a simple package of rice wrapped in banana leaves. When they were hungry, they stopped by the stream, where clear water trickled over cool rocks. The girl spread out a small cloth and divided the rice and food. Hang sat beside her, quietly eating, occasionally looking up at the stream, her eyes seemingly lost in vague memories. Late in the afternoon, after a long day of collecting herbs in the forest, the girl decided to take Hang to the local police station to report her missing. There, she explained that she had picked up an amnesiac girl of unknown identity. However, the police said they had not received any reports matching Hang's description. They promised to contact neighboring units and advised the two to temporarily return home and wait for further confirmation. After leaving the police station, the girl took Hang back to the small, simple house on the hillside. It was getting dark. The wind from the forest was blowing softly, making the scene even more quiet. While the stove was cooking, she gently sat down next to Hang and asked, "Have you tried to remember anything? A name, a familiar place is fine." Hang lowered her head. Her eyes were hazy. Then she shook her head slightly. "I don't remember anything. My mind is blank." It was getting dark, and darkness began to cover the forest. Khan, his mother, and the police comrades followed the location provided by the kidnapper. The kidnapper was still leisurely waiting in the abandoned house, thinking that he was about to receive the ransom. In the dim darkness, he squinted and saw only a black shadow rushing towards him. Before he could react, Khan had already knocked him to the ground. He stammered, "Who is it?" Khan's voice was cold and harsh. "The person you should be most afraid of." At that moment, the police officers also immediately rushed in and completely restrained him. Khan clenched his fists and asked in a harsh voice, "Where did you lock Hang? Tell me now." The kidnapper rolled his eyes and said in a harsh voice, "I don't know." He tried to struggle, but his evasive eyes and twitching face betrayed that he was lying. Let's watch the next episode.